Hi everyone, I'm so glad you joined me. Today I'm going to be talking about why it's so essential for us to slow down our toxic reactivity, especially in relationship, and to learn to deliberately cultivate an internal energy of calm, of hope and resilience so that we can use that when we're faced with the different stresses in our relationship, especially when we're feeling really threatened or defensive, or about to sort of get into an argument with a person that we love. So again, I'm going to be talking about how we can deliberately cultivate an energy of faith, of comfort internally within ourselves, rather than just relying on our circumstances to dictate how we feel inside and how we react and respond. You may or may not know, and some of this today that I'm going to be sharing is just fascinating research and findings and theory from the fields of interpersonal neurobiology and some of the research coming out of the HeartMath Institute, which some of you may already be familiar with. But I want to share some really, really interesting findings that really corroborate everything I've been saying if you've been following me for a while. And I'm just so excited about this because we finally have all these different ways of understanding, of integrating all these different fields, and it makes so much sense. And I just find it extremely beautiful to see how this all comes together. So you may or may not know that your heart, all of our hearts, generates its own electromagnetic field. Now, not only does it generate its own electromagnetic field, but energy exchange between people's hearts can actually be, it can be registered and studied between people who are standing up to 5 feet apart. So I just think that's like mind-blowing that these signals, these internal states can register. And we've known in the field of psychology that people can pick up on unconscious states without even, consciously thinking or cognitively processing that information. And now we have all this other research showing us that our heart, as an organ, also has its own electromagnetic field that other people respond to and can feel. So I just think that is amazing. And what we also know that takes us a step further is that when there's integration, when there's more harmony within us as a person, in our own system, in our own mind, body, spirit, energetic system, we are much better able to access our intuition and to read another person's brainwaves. So that is just incredible. And specifically, when there's more what's called coherence within our own system, our heart rhythms are smoother, and our heart rhythms actually sync up with another person's brain waves more easily. That correlation has been studied, and there's just so much here for us to be curious about and to know about and to apply in our relationships so that it can support us beyond just being fascinating intellectually. Okay, so what is psychophysiological coherence? It's a big word, but basically it just means that when our own internal systems, our organs, our internal state within our body and our mind, and I believe that our mind really resides in our entire body, not just in our brain, but when that is all working smoothly in sync, we have smoother heart rhythms. They're more predictable. They can be measured. Our heart and our brain actually sync up much more reliably. And there's harmony between our cardiovascular system, our nervous system, our hormonal system, and our immune system. And usually the way this manifests in terms of our mood and our emotional state is we may feel more hopeful, we have more access to more generous compassion towards others. It helps us feel a sense of connection versus separateness, and we're less coming from a place of fear and more able to trust and be faith, have faith that things will work out for us. We also have better access to our neocortical functions. We can come up with solutions better. We're more creative, and we have much sharper intuitive abilities, not only within ourselves, but also in terms of understanding and reading other people. So you may have heard of this as, some people refer to it as being in a higher vibration energetically, but we also know now that this state of being in calm and having our own systems work harmoniously within ourselves actually generate more coherent, smoother heart rhythms. What happens when that's not the case? And in our modern life, that's often not the case, right? There's so much stress and there's so many pressures on us, and we are so used to sort of defaulting to the external pace of the world, of all the information we're bombarded with, of our schedules, of other people's expectations. So when that happens, our psychophysiological incoherence actually manifests as our heart rhythms and our brain rhythms not being in sync, or not being in sync as much, a sense of hopelessness, an inability to be more creative, to come up with solutions, to feel like there is hope, that there are solutions. We actually have less access to our higher cortical capacities. Our concentration suffers. We may feel or describe it like stress or overwhelm. All these things are things that happen very, very, very rapidly. And you may recognize them from, when you think of like the fight versus flight, fight, flight, or freeze versus states where you feel safer. So it's sort of the same thing. And in this state, we have more anxiety, more doubt, more fear. Things just feel a lot more chaotic, less predictable. Our heart sends incoherent, less smooth rhythms to our brain and our mind. And we're less able to read other intentions, so we're actually more likely to misperceive others' actions, feelings, etc., etc. Usually, I find couples tell me, and I've experienced this myself, is we tend to misperceive in a way that leaves us feeling like the other person wants to attack us, right? We usually don't give them the benefit of the doubt when we're in that state of fear. So this makes so much sense, right? Because I've talked before, and you may have heard me say that couples are systems. They almost share the same bundles of nerves, even though they're in separate physical bodies. And this research and these findings just explain it so well, because intuitively we've known that we are capable of exchanging energy, of influencing each other, but now we actually are starting to understand the mechanisms that make this happen. And we know that predictability in systems, or in a couple, if you think about yourself and your partner as a system, the more predictable you are, or the more predictability you have when things go wrong, when you're hurt, when you're arguing, or when you're trying to recover from an argument, the more stabilizing that is to the system, right? The more you can trust that you'll be able to find a way back to each other and things will work out, and that helps you the next time, and it helps to build trust over and over again. But in systems where there's a lot of inconsistency or unpredictability, where things are unknown, when there's a lot of uncertainty, that usually generates more chaos in the system. But we also know that the same thing happens internally within ourselves, literally between our heart and the rest of us. When there is inconsistency, when there's doubt, when there is stress, our physiology changes. A whole other cascade of hormones sort of gets activated, and we're less able to be present, essentially, in our bodies. We feel less grounded and less connected to others, more separate. So I wanted to share that with you because I find it so inspiring. It's another way to understand what I've been talking about and how I help couples. And if you're wondering, I'll spend just a few minutes, I'll do another Facebook Live on this, but if you're wondering how you can begin to shift your own internal state, I had a few ideas for you to consider. So the first thing I would say is really tune into your body. Once you feel yourself shifting, and it could happen within a matter of seconds, once you feel yourself shifting from a place of feeling calm, feeling safe, to being on the attack, just tune into your, or withdrawing, tune into your body. Notice where there's tension. Notice what your body language is saying or doing. Are you tightening your fists? Are you folding your arms? Are you sort of curling into a ball? Are you leaning forward, sort of charging, pushing? Just notice that and try to shift to that. Find your breath. That's a really, really powerful way without changing it or doing anything with it. Just being aware of your breath, of your own rhythm, can soften it and help regulate it so that your breath is smoother, and that will also help to smoothen and soften your heart rhythms. You can actually visualize. A really powerful visualization is to visualize yourself with every breath breathing from your heart. So just imagine every breath you take sort of coming into your body and reaching you all the way into your heart, and bringing with it compassion for yourself, understanding, slowing down, safety, and then breathing out, and with every exhale, imagining that breath coming, again, the exhale coming from your heart, and letting go, releasing some of the any stiffness you may feel, any tension you may feel, emotionally or in your body. And then the next thing you can do is actually extend that loving, compassionate energy to the heart of your partner. And just imagine how you would feel if your partner literally entrusted you with their heart, with all of their heart's love, vulnerability, fear, worries, and how that would feel different if you didn't have to worry about them being defensive or attacking you or feeling attacked. And see if you can cultivate more compassion and understanding in that way, and just trust that if you do this inner work of regulating yourself and calming yourself down first, you will actually be much more likely to show up in the way that you want to with your partner, with yourself, and much more likely to be received and responded to, and to elicit cooperation from your partner as well, because you won't be coming from a place of life or death, essentially, where your system is out of balance and your heart is sending out these sort of panicky signals to your mind and your brain. And even though it doesn't guarantee that things will go exactly the way that you want, I can assure you that you'll be much more likely to resolve things better from that place, or even to come back to it later once you're in that state within yourself. I hope this was useful to you. If you know someone who could benefit from watching this or hearing this, tag them, share it. And if you're not a member of my Facebook community yet, I really invite you to join us. We have some really fascinating discussions. I do different Facebook Lives like this in there. You can search for it on Facebook. It's called Couples Creating Conscious Connection, and we'd love to welcome you to our community. Take care. Bye-bye.